Overthinking is not a thinking problem. It is a decision problem. There is a specific kind of suffering that no one talks about. It is not the suffering of action that fails. It is the suffering of action that never begins. Overthinking. Most people believe overthinking is a thinking problem. An overactive mind. Too much analysis. A brain that will not shut up. They are wrong. Overthinking is not a thinking problem. It is a decision problem. And the samurai understood this so clearly, so completely, that they built a single behavioral principle to end it. Not manage it. Not reduce it. End it. I'm going to show you that principle. And then I'm going to show you a man who applied it and watched his entire life change in 14 days. His name is Kenji, 36 years old, marketing director, smart, capable, respected at work, and completely unable to make a decision. Should he take the promotion? It comes with more responsibility, more visibility, more risk. What if he fails publicly? What if the extra hours destroy his relationship? What if he is not ready? Should he end a relationship? She is not wrong for him, but she is not right either. What if leaving is a mistake? What if staying is the bigger mistake? What if he regrets it in 5 years? Should he move cities? The opportunity is better, but his life is here, his friends, his routine. What if the new place does not work out? What if he is running from something instead of towards something? Every major decision in Kenji's life follows the same pattern. He researches, he considers, he weighs, he talks to people, he makes lists, he thinks through every scenario, he calculates risk, he imagines outcomes, he revisits the question, and then he does nothing, not because he lacks intelligence, because he lacks the one thing that turns thought into reality. A principle the samurai called Ketsudan. The samurai did not deliberate endlessly. Once sufficient information was gathered, the decision was made. Immediately, completely, irreversibly. Ketsudan is a Japanese word. It means the cut that decides. In classical samurai training, Ketsudan was not a personality trait. It was a discipline, a practice behavior. When a samurai faced a decision, in combat, in strategy, in life, he gathered the available information. He assessed, he considered, and then he decided, immediately. Not because the decision was easy, not because the outcome was certain, but because he understood something that modern men have almost entirely forgotten. Prolonged deliberation is not wisdom. It is cowardice disguised as caution. The samurai knew that every moment spent reconsidering an already sufficient decision was a moment stolen from execution. And execution, not contemplation, was the only thing that produced results. Overthinking feels productive. It feels like you're doing something, but you are not. You are rehearsing the decision instead of making it. The principle of Ketsudan says this. Once you have sufficient information, and you almost always have sufficient information sooner than you think, the decision is made. Not later. Not after one more conversation. Not after sleeping on it again. Now. And once the decision is made, it is not revisited. You move. The blade has cut. The path is chosen. Most people overthink because they believe that more thinking will produce certainty. It will not. Certainty does not come from analysis. It comes from commitment. The human brain is wired to avoid loss more strongly than it is wired to pursue gain. This is called loss aversion, and it is the single biggest driver of overthinking. Every decision you make closes other possibilities. If you take the promotion, you lose the option of staying comfortable. If you end the relationship, you lose the option of seeing if it could have worked. If you move cities, you lose the life you built here. Overthinking is the brain's way of keeping all options open for as long as possible. It feels like wisdom. It is not. It is fear. The samurai understood this. They trained to recognize the moment when more thinking became a liability. And then they cut. Not recklessly, not without thought, but decisively, completely, without looking back. That is Ketsudan. He gathered the information. He assessed. And then, for the first time in years, he decided without reconsidering. Kenji hears about Ketsudan from a friend who studied classical martial philosophy. The concept lands on him like a physical weight. Once sufficient information is gathered, the decision is made. Immediately, not revisited. He thinks about the promotion he has been reconsidering for 6 weeks. He has all the information. He has talked to his manager, his partner, his mentor. He has made lists. He has run scenarios. He has everything he needs except the decision. So he decides to apply Ketsudan as an experiment. Friday afternoon, he sits down. He writes the pros and cons one final time. He reads them. He closes the notebook. And then he says aloud, "I'm taking the promotion." The moment he says it, something shifts. Not relief, not certainty, but something else. Finality. That night, his mind tries to reopen the question 3 times. Each time, he repeats the Ketsudan principle. The decision is made. It is not revisited. By Sunday, the mental loop is gone. Not because he stopped caring about the outcome, but because his brain finally accepted that the decision phase is over. Now, there's only execution. Monday morning, he tells his manager yes. What Kenji does not expect is how applying Ketsudan to one decision changes everything else. The relationship question he has been circling for 8 months. He applies Ketsudan. He gathers what he knows. He decides. He has the conversation. It ends. He grieves for 2 days and then moves forward without looking back. The city move. Same process. Assess. Decide. Act. No reopening the question once the cut is made. Smaller things start falling into place. What to eat. What to wear. What to work on first. Decisions that used to take 10 minutes now take 10 seconds. 2 weeks into practicing Ketsudan, Kenji realizes something. He has not overthought a single decision in 9 days. Not because the decisions got easier. Not because the stakes got lower. Because he trained himself to cut. Once sufficient information exists, the decision is made. Immediately. Not revisited. That is the entire system. Ketsudan is not a mindset. It is a practice behavior. You train it the way a swordsman trains a cut, deliberately, repeatedly, until it becomes reflex. Ketsudan is not a mindset you adopt. It is a behavior you train. Here is how you practice it. Step 1. Recognize when you have sufficient information. Most decisions do not require more data. They require commitment. If you have considered the main variables and the likely outcomes, you have enough. Step 2. Set a decision deadline. Give yourself a defined window to assess. For small decisions, 10 minutes. For medium decisions, 1 day. For major decisions, 1 week maximum. When the deadline hits, you decide. Step 3. Make the cut. Say the decision aloud or write it down. This creates psychological closure. The decision phase is over. Step 4. Do not revisit. This is the hardest part. Your brain will try to reopen the question. Every time it does, repeat the principle. The decision is made. It is not revisited. Say it aloud if necessary. Step 5. Act immediately. The moment the decision is made, take the first physical action toward execution. Call the person. Send the email. Book the ticket. Motion prevents reconsideration. Start small. Practice Ketsudan on low-stakes decisions first. What to eat. What to work on. Which task to do first. Build a reflex. Then apply it to the decisions that matter. Overthinking is not wisdom. It is a refusal to accept that no decision is final and all decisions can be corrected. The samurai understood something that most modern men never learn. No decision is final. Every decision can be adjusted. Every path can be corrected. Every outcome can be responded to. The paralysis of overthinking comes from the belief that the decision must be perfect. That if you choose wrong, you are trapped. You are not. A wrong decision that is acted on can be corrected. A right decision that is never made produces nothing. Ketsudan is not about always being right. It is about always moving forward. Kenji is not perfect now. He still makes decisions that do not work out. But he no longer spends weeks trapped in his own mind, deliberating choices that could have been made in an afternoon. He cuts. He moves. He adjusts if needed. And his life, for the first time in years, is actually happening instead of being endlessly rehearsed. That is what Ketsudan gives you. Not certainty, not perfection, but liberation. The freedom to decide, to act, to move, to live. Right now, there's a decision you have been reconsidering for too long. You know what it is. Gather what you need to know. Make the cut. Do not revisit.